Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. I'm back with a race from Monza, and we all know that Monza can provide chaos, but if you work well and you do some really good racecraft, you can actually get some really good finishes here. Now, if you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Our aim of this channel is to try and help people get faster, try and improve your DR, and just try and help people out as much as possible. So feel free to subscribe, hit that like button, it all helps me out. But in this video, we're starting at the back of the grid. We've got Pole in P12, just in front of me there, 2 cars in front. And he is a previous Toyota champion and a previous Gran Turismo Nations champion when it was a team event. So a very, very quick driver. Now he's in the GTR, I'm in the Genesis. Both these cars are pretty much equal this week. Both had advantages and disadvantages compared to each other. But you can see, starting the race, first things first, always make sure you brake early at Monza into turn 1 on lap 1. Some cars going a bit wide there and a bit deep. We're going to go to the left hand side to make sure we give space to the car on the right hand side there. We don't want to run him out onto the gravel. And now we're going to pick up the slipstream. Now, one thing I've stated recently is that Gran Turismo slipstream, in my view, when it's on custom, is perhaps a little bit too strong. Now, I personally think they need to tone it down a bit back to what it was like when it was on the real setting, and just keep the lack of dirty air, because the lack of dirty air is much, much better. It enables you to race through the corners and stay pretty close to the cars ahead. So we're up into P13, 1 position gain straight away from P14 there, and we can see in the distance there we've got a car with a penalty, so possibly another position that we're going to be able to gain further on in this lap. So into the second Lesmo corner there, trying to get a good exit. We've got the car with a penalty there that's actually made a mistake, so we're going to go to the right, pick that slipstream up, and now we're going to try and get back into the slipstream of Sebastian there. Now again, it's always really, really important to play it smart. You can see I have a little look down the inside, but realise we don't really want to send that up the inside there. It's not going to gain us anything. It's just going to lose myself and Sebastian any chance of progressing up this straight. And then we run a little bit wide there, have a massive moment, just about saved that. That was very close, but that has lost me the slipstream to the car's ahead. You can see we've dropped back over 1.4 seconds, 1.5 seconds. Now the slipstream is at about 1.7, but the real strength comes within the 8 tenths and ahead of that. From this distance, we're not really picking up anything. But luckily for us, the cars behind did pick up a penalty there. Now we could go for an early pit stop, but I decided that with the cars up ahead, we know that there's going to be cars that are going to be fighting each other, and there's a high chance that they'll fight into a corner and they'll end up losing time. And the great thing is the car behind decided to bump draft me. Now, we spoke about this many times. Bump drafting at tracks like Monza is so important. Now, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but with the current slipstream and the way it works, tracks like Monza and Le Mans are so important to do that. You can see by the end of the time we get to the end of the lap here, we've actually managed to get back into the slipstream of P9. We've obviously P8. We've managed to gain a few positions where people have gone for that early pit stop to try and get some clean air. But if you work well with slipstream on tracks like this and Le Mans, which is coming up next week, you really do work, really do gain a lot of time. So bear that in mind for next week's Daily Race C at Le Mans. It is probably going to be a race where it's all about racecraft and using the slipstream and bump drafting. It's not my favourite thing. I'm not a massive fan of the bump drafting, but it is so strong and so beneficial, as we see a car getting a very clear penalty there. I don't think we've ever seen a more clear 3-second penalty than that. It was a bit of a late entrance there, but that's going to be a definite position gain. He's going to be so far back with a 3-second penalty here. And that is another thing, avoiding penalties at tracks like this, because you do not want to lose that slipstream. Same for Le Mans. You pick up a penalty, you lose a slipstream, and you're going to lose over a second a lap sometimes from another car that's in the slipstream. For example, at Le Mans, if you lose a slipstream for the no chicane variation, which we've got next week, you're going to probably lose 3 to 4 seconds on that straight with people are bump drafting, and that's where I think PD do need to tone the slipstream down a little bit. I would love them to see do something where bump drafting maybe was a bit more of a hindrance, and it would actually cause you some sort of possible harm. But yeah, I think it'd be very hard for them to do. But you can see we're up to P7 now. Pole in the Nissan GTR there, a very, very fast driver, is really flying through the field at the moment, and we're just coming through that second Lesmo, picking up the slipstream to Norman. Now this is where I decided to go for a move, because I felt if I could get this slipstream from Norman in front, we could then tuck into the slipstream of Pole still. So we're actually not going to bump draft here. We're going to actually go for the move up the inside. Now you can see braking as late as we can, we take the inside line, and we actually get quite a nice run through the corner as well, so we don't actually lose that much momentum coming out the exit, and you can see we're still in that slipstream to pole, and now we're going to be able to try and get as close as possible to pole and see if we can benefit from his slipstream. He's a quicker driver than me, there's no doubt about that. I'm not in his league of driving, but if we can use this slipstream, we might be able to get a very, very good result here. So again, you can see I'm going to drive with everything I've got to try and stay in that slipstream. This was on a Monday as well, so the day was very early in the morning, and it was a case of just trying to get as much out of this car as possible at this stage. So by the time we get to the end of lap 4, you can see we're just hanging on to that slipstream of pole. He's pushing very, very hard, but we are hanging into the slipstream, and what we've managed to do is we've managed to drop the slipstream from P6, and that is massive, because once you're out of that slip, you've got no chance of catching up, because you're going to gain, just on this straight alone here, you're going to gain 3/10 by being in the slipstream. So again, we're going to go over the line there. You can see we do have the fastest lap of the race at this stage of the race there, but pole goes over with a little bit of a quicker lap. But we are in the slipstream now, and we're going to go for a very, very good lap. You can see we're going to really push to try and get as close as we can to him, and go for some really late braking, trying to downshift, using that first gear to rotate. One thing about Gran Turismo, as most of you know, is first gear, using them gears to rotate you through the corners, and then getting out them exits as quick as possible. You can see now we are into that slipstream a little bit further. We're under 1 second from pole now, so we're going to start picking up a little bit extra drag down that straight, and we're going to be going a bit faster. So again, one thing to remember when you're in these slipstreams, brake a little bit earlier than what you would normally do. So braking a little bit earlier there, hitting the apex lovely there, up into third gear on the exit of the first chicane there, and really nice exit actually. We gained a little 10th on pole on the chicane alone. So into the first Lesmo again, just being very patient, trying to take that tight line before we get aggressive on the throttle, and then again into the second Lesmo, all about the exit speed, use some of the curb, onto that throttle as early as possible, and we got a nice little exit there. We actually see in front the GTR there have a little bit of a wiggle on the rear. That's going to give us a bit of momentum to pull a little bit closer into the Ascari chicane. So picking up that slipstream, actually on a really good lap here. You can see we're going to go through here purple by a considerable amount. We're actually on a very, very quick lap. You can see there using third gear, then up to fourth gear on the exit, using that slipstream. And for us, not sure if this is a good thing, pole has picked up a penalty. Now normally I'd be like great, that means a free position, but at this stage of the race, in the slipstream to pole is beneficial for me. We're using his pace to drag ourselves forward here, and trying to just use his abilities to help me get a bit further up the grid in this race. So we're going to try and get as close as we can before he takes that penalty, to see if we can pick up the slipstream to the car that's just in front of him, because he is starting to get the slip from a car there. So if we can manage to do that, which you can see we've actually done it, by the time pole takes that penalty, we're into the slipstream of the two cars ahead, and they actually look like they're starting to battle a little bit here, which isn't always the best. But we can see going into the final corner there, trying to get a good exit, and thankfully for us, this is really good. P2 decides to go in the pits. Now I'm not going to follow him, I'm going to stay out and get in the slipstream to P1 now, and use some of his slipstream as well. Didn't really want to get in the slipstream to P2 there. There was more of a gap to P1, which again enables me to push on and gain that half a second at least over the lap. Now you can see that pole is behind us around 1.3 seconds there, and we all know how quick he is. He's going to be right up behind us within a couple of laps. So what we need to do here is work very well and very fast, and to be honest, I felt like getting ahead of this guy would be beneficial. If this was a driver that I felt was way quicker than myself, I probably would have just bump drafted him. Like I said before, bump drafting is really quick in these situations, but I've just caught up to him so quick through the corners. But he does manage to get a really good exit off that first chicane, which again, I had a bit of a moment there. So again, into the first Lesmo, getting into that slipstream, into the second Lesmo, and again, we're going to try and get that solid exit from here and just try and get away from pole, because you can see he's already on the 1 second behind us. He is absolutely flying in that Nissan GTR there. Again, the GTR, when it's in that slipstream on the high-speed BOP, is very quick on the straights. It's not, when it's on the mid-speed, it's not quite so quick on the straights, but on the high-speed, it's definitely got quite good momentum with that slipstream. So again, into the Ascari chicane there, and now we're going to try and get a good exit here and get as close as possible. Now, there's no point going for a move into this final corner, because all you're going to do then is give the slipstream back to the car behind. So we're going to get into that slipstream. We have a little look down there just to see how close we are to the braking zone, and then brake nice and early, and again getting very, very close into that braking zone. You can see in the mirror just how close pole has got already. So Pole has brought himself back into this race. So we're going to get the slipstream to P1 now. This is an opportunity, perfect place to go for an overtake from Monza, pick up that slipstream and go for a move into turn 1. So we're going to go down the left hand side. We've got massive momentum from obviously picking up that slip with this custom slip, and brake as late as we can, hold that line pretty much in the middle of the track and just try and get a good exit from here, again using that first gear for the rotation, and try and get a really solid exit there. You can see the car behind had a little moment there, which is great for me because it just gives me the ability not to have to defend there. Now by the time we get to the end of lap 9, you can see there Pole has managed to get right up behind us and is in the battle. But watch what he does here. This is sensible racing, bump drafting. Now the reason he's done that is because if he tries to overtake me there, we're both going to battle, and there's people that had already pitted early, so he's aware of the situation and what's going on in this race, and there's people that have pitted early, and we work, but both kind of need to work together here to be able to get as far up to battle at the front as possible. So again, you can see he's bumping on this straight here, because if we start fighting, what happens is we both lose out on the chance to go for a win. But if we work together, we both have an opportunity to fight for this win. So trying to get a solid exit through that final corner at Monza, and now we're going to get into the pits and get this rather silly pit stop sorted. I'm not a fan of these pit stops where you go in, straight back out, no tyre change. PD, stop giving us these. I would much rather an actual tyre change, like medium to hard or soft to medium, something like that. But you can see why we were working together. P1 there. Brown Banana is still in the lead of this race, and you can see there Pole has just about managed to keep himself in 3rd place. However, he had to give a bit of space on the exit of the chicane, and that's lost him a bit of momentum, which is great for me because now I can consider attacking P1 and seeing if we can go for a move somewhere. We're obviously not going to go for a move into this first chicane because we have a little look there and we're not going to be close enough, so we're going to just hold back on that one and wait for a better opportunity for an overtake. So picking up the slipstream again, a really nice run through the first chicane into 3rd gear, and again now we're just going to try and keep it smooth through these 2 right-hand Lesmo corners. So again, nice and smooth, taking no risks here. We're not going to risk making any huge mistakes. It's all about getting that exit speed from this 2nd Lesmo. Again, quite a good exit there, using quite a lot of curb. Had a little bit of a moment there. That is going to lose me a little bit of momentum, but the Genesis is a little bit quicker than that GTR. So going into the final lap here now, we are going for a move on this last lap. We're going to go down the right side and see if we can get ourselves into the lead before the Ascari chicane. Unfortunately, we've not got the momentum. Very good defensive driving by Brown Banana, and now we're going to try and get that exit. Now we've got the Nissan GTR behind us, which really fast through that Ascari chicane, and this is going to be a freeway fight to the finish. We're going to get the slip, go to the left, we're going to have the outside line, but we've got the momentum that we might be able to brake late enough and take a reasonable line. Pole goes for a move on the inside there. He manages to make that, but keep your eye on the mirror now. He's starting to lose the rear, and it's going, and I think Brown just taps him there, but in my opinion, there wasn't much Brown could do there. Pole was already out of control, and we managed to take a great win from P14 on the grid in this daily race. So yeah, raced it smart, got ourselves from P14 to P1, and that was a really fun race. If you enjoyed that, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back for more in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.